daily driving a Lamborghini Huracan for 7 days. For years, the Lamborghini Huracan has represented the peak of automotive fantasy. It is the kind of car people promise themselves they will own one day. It is loud, dramatic, aggressive, and unapologetic. But here is the real question most people never ask. What happens when that fantasy becomes normal life? Not a weekend rental. Not a 5-minute rev for social media. Real life. School runs. Traffic lights. Parking garages. Rain. Groceries. 7 straight days. This is where the dream either strengthens or starts to crack. And that is exactly what daily driving a Lamborghini Huracan reveals. The first thing that hits is the presence. The Huracan does not blend in anywhere. The sharp, angular bodywork looks like it was carved rather than designed. The stance is extremely low, the proportions are wide, and every panel feels intentional. Even parked, it looks fast. During the first day, simply pulling out of the driveway feels like an event. Neighbors look. Passing drivers slow down. Pedestrians turn their heads before the engine even revs. It becomes clear immediately that this is not transportation in the normal sense. It is a moving statement, and that attention follows you everywhere, whether you are ready for it or not. Starting the car never becomes ordinary. The red flip cover over the ignition button creates a small moment of anticipation every time. Lift it. Press it. The naturally aspirated V10 erupts with a sharp, metallic tone that fills the space around you. Cold starts are intense. The sound echoes off nearby buildings and reminds you that this engine was engineered with emotion in mind. In the early morning, that volume can feel dramatic in quiet neighborhoods. In open spaces, it feels perfect. Throughout the week, the startup remains one of the most addictive parts of the experience. It sets the tone before the wheels even begin to move. Getting inside requires adjustment. The Huracan sits extremely low, and entering it is a controlled motion rather than a casual step. Once seated, the driving position feels focused and tight. The cockpit wraps around the driver. The digital instrument cluster is sharp and configurable, presenting speed, RPM, navigation, and performance data in a way that feels modern and purposeful. The materials throughout the cabin, from leather to Alcantara, feel high quality and premium. However, space is limited. There is no pretending otherwise. Storage compartments are minimal. The front trunk offers some room, but it requires planning. Daily errands suddenly involve thinking ahead. City driving is where reality starts to shape the experience. The Huracan suspension is firm, tuned for performance rather than comfort. On smooth roads, it feels planted and confident. On uneven city streets, every imperfection is noticeable. Potholes, patched asphalt, and expansion joints become part of the driving conversation. Speed bumps require careful angles. Steep driveways demand slow, calculated movements. The car's low ground clearance means awareness is constant. After a few days, these adjustments become instinctive, but during the first few drives, it requires full attention. Traffic introduces another layer. The dual-clutch transmission shifts rapidly and precisely when accelerating, delivering seamless gear changes at speed. In heavy stop-and-go conditions, it can feel slightly abrupt at very low speeds. It is not uncomfortable, but it reminds you that this is a performance transmission. The steering is extremely responsive, reacting quickly to even small inputs. That sharpness makes the car feel alive, but it also requires smooth control in tight spaces. Parallel parking in a crowded area feels different when the car draws attention from every direction. Visibility is manageable, but not expansive. The rear window is small, and the side windows are relatively narrow due to the aggressive roofline. Parking sensors and cameras become essential tools for daily usability. After a few days, spatial awareness improves. You learn the width. You understand how much space you truly occupy. Still, there is always a heightened sense of caution when maneuvering in confined parking structures or narrow streets. Every movement feels deliberate. fuel consumption becomes a daily reality. The naturally aspirated V10 delivers power in a linear, exhilarating way, especially at higher RPM. But that performance comes with thirst. Frequent visits to the fuel station are part of the experience, particularly if you enjoy the engine's full range. Premium fuel is mandatory. Range decreases quickly during spirited driving. Over 7 days, fuel planning becomes routine. It is not surprising, but it is constant. On the highway, the Huracan reveals a surprisingly composed character. At steady speeds, the engine settles into a more relaxed tone. Wind noise is present but controlled. The car feels stable, grounded, and confident even at higher velocities. Overtaking is effortless. Press the accelerator, and the response is immediate. The V10 builds power smoothly, delivering a surge that feels both controlled and dramatic. Highway merges become brief demonstrations of capability. Yet even at cruising speed, attention from other drivers remains constant. Some keep distance, some pull alongside for a closer look. The anonymity of normal driving does not exist here. Over the course of the week, the emotional curve changes. The first 2 days are intense. Everything feels amplified. The sound, the attention, the awareness. By day 3 or 4, familiarity begins to set in. The shock factor fades slightly, replaced by deeper appreciation. You start noticing the chassis balance in corners, the precision of throttle response, the way the steering communicates subtle road details. It shifts from spectacle to substance. The Huracan proves it is not just a visual icon, but a genuinely engineered performance machine. However, daily driving also highlights limitations. Practical errands require compromise. Grocery shopping means smaller loads. Carrying more than one passenger is not an option. Long drives demand careful packing. Cabin storage is limited to essentials. These are not flaws, but design priorities. The Huracan was built for performance, not convenience. Living with it daily forces alignment with that philosophy. Maintenance awareness increases as well. Tire wear is more significant than standard vehicles, especially with enthusiastic driving. Service intervals are specialized and require expert technicians. Insurance costs are notably higher compared to regular cars. These financial realities become part of the overall experience. They are not hidden drawbacks, but living with them daily reinforces that supercar ownership extends far beyond the purchase price. One unexpected aspect is how quickly the extraordinary becomes familiar. By day 6 or 7, starting the V10 feels almost routine. The low seating position feels natural. The once overwhelming attention becomes background noise. That normalization is revealing. It shows that even the most dramatic machines can integrate into daily life with enough adaptation. The Huracan does not soften or change. The driver evolves. At the end of 7 days, the Lamborghini Huracan stands revealed in full context. It is thrilling, precise, and emotionally powerful. It transforms ordinary drives into memorable experiences. It demands focus, planning, and financial readiness. It is not built for convenience, but it is more usable than many imagine. The dream remains intact, but it gains depth. The fantasy is no longer abstract. It is defined by early morning cold starts, careful parking angles, fuel station stops, and highway acceleration moments. Daily driving a Lamborghini Huracan for 7 days proves that the supercar dream is real, but layered. It is not effortless. It is not subtle. It is intense, rewarding, and occasionally demanding. For some, those demands are part of the appeal. For others, they reveal that a supercar is best enjoyed in smaller doses. Either way, experiencing it daily removes illusion and replaces it with understanding. The Lamborghini Huracan is not just a poster. It is a machine that can exist in real life, with all the advantages and responsibilities that come with it. And once you see both sides clearly, the dream becomes more informed, more realistic, and in many ways, even more impressive.